Hey everyone, it's your pal Jimmy Kimmel here, and let's be honest, we all judge baby names. But some parents, let's just say they take it to a whole new level. We're talking about those names that make you go, wait, they named their kid what? Did you know that some countries have banned parents from naming their children after celebrities, brands, or even symbols? I mean, can you imagine naming your kid after a can of Spam, or worse, a politician? Get ready to dive into the wacky world of banned baby names, where we'll uncover the most outrageous and unbelievable laws from around the globe. We're talking names so crazy, they'd make even the most eccentric Hollywood star blush. So buckle up, grab your judgmental hats, and get ready for 15 crazy celebrity name laws you won't believe are real. All right, folks, let's kick things off with a name that's a mouthful, and I'm not talking about a delicious mouthful like a big plate of nachos. In 1996, a couple in Sweden decided to wage war on their country's naming laws. Their weapon of choice? A name so long and ridiculous it makes my last colonoscopy seem like a walk in the park. Get ready for it. B 11,116. Yeah, you heard that right. I dare you to try and say that 3 times fast. The parents claimed it was a beautiful and artistic expression of their love. The Swedish court, however, was not impressed. They rejected the name, calling it inappropriate. I mean, can you blame them? Imagine having to fill out paperwork with that name on it. Talk about a nightmare for teachers, doctors, and anyone who ever has to address this kid. It's like they were trying to create a name that would single-handedly crash the internet. If you think these names are wild, wait until you see the next one. But first, hit that subscribe and like button, because unlike XQBB 11,116, it's super easy to spell. Next up, we're heading to Egypt, where a couple decided to pay tribute to the social media giant that brought us endless cat videos and political arguments, Facebook. Yes, you heard that right. They wanted to name their child after the platform that knows more about you than your own mother. Now, I get it, Facebook played a role in the Arab Spring, and I'm all for democracy and all that jazz. But naming your kid after a social media platform, that's like naming your kid after a hashtag or a viral meme. It's just asking for trouble. Can you imagine the poor kid trying to explain that to their friends? Yeah, my parents named me after a website where they share embarrassing baby pictures. Needless to say, the Egyptian government wasn't too keen on the idea either. They rejected the name, probably because they didn't want to deal with the inevitable trademark lawsuit from Mark Zuckerberg. All right, we're back with more crazy celebrity name laws, and this one is for all you metalheads out there. Get ready to bang your heads against the wall, because in Iceland you can't name your kid Metallica. I know, right? What kind of a world are we living in where you can't pay tribute to the gods of heavy metal by bestowing their name upon your offspring? Apparently, Iceland has this super official list of approved baby names, and Metallica didn't make the cut. They said it wasn't compatible with Icelandic tradition. Can you imagine Lars Ulrich's face when he heard about this? He probably went on a 10-minute drum solo rant about it. But hey, maybe it's for the best. Can you imagine being stuck with the name Metallica in school? Kids can be brutal. Hey Metallica, what's your favorite element? Iron Maiden? Get it? Get it? See, I told you it was brutal. So if you're in Iceland and you're looking to name your kid after a band, you might want to stick with Björk or Sigur Rós. They're probably on that approved list. And if you're really desperate, you can always try to sneak Metallica in as a middle name. Just don't tell the Icelandic naming police. Buckle up, folks, because this next one is a real doozy. It turns out that in Germany you can't name your kid Lucifer. I know, it seems like a no-brainer, right? Who in their right mind would name their kid after the Prince of Darkness? But apparently some people thought it was a good idea. But the German government wasn't having it. They said 9 faster than you can say sauerkraut. They claimed the name would be harmful to the child's well-being. And you know what? They're probably right. Can you imagine going through life named Lucifer? You'd be the kid who always got blamed for everything. Who put the whoopee cushion on the principal's chair? Must have been Lucifer. Who ate all the cookies from the cookie jar? Lucifer, definitely Lucifer. Hey, at least you'd have a built-in Halloween costume. But seriously, folks, maybe stick with more traditional names like Hans or Gretchen. They're tried and true, and they won't get you ostracized by society. Hold on to your Allen wrenches, folks, because this next one is a real head-scratcher. In France, you can't name your kid IKEA. I know it sounds crazy, right? What's wrong with a little Scandinavian flair? Apparently, the French government isn't a fan of those affordable, assemble-it-yourself furniture options. They said non to the name IKEA because it's a registered trademark. They claimed it would cause confusion and potentially harm the company's brand. Can you imagine trying to explain that one to your kid? Sorry, Timmy, we wanted to name you after that magical place with the Swedish meatballs, but the government said no. Poor Timmy. He'll never know the joy of wandering through those endless showrooms, getting lost in a labyrinth of Billy bookcases and Poing chairs. So, if you're in France and you're looking for a unique baby name, you'll have to look elsewhere. Maybe try Renault or Chanel. They're French, they're chic, and they won't get you sued by a multinational furniture conglomerate. All right, we're back with more crazy baby name laws. This one comes straight out of France, the land of croissants and apparently strict baby naming judges. One couple thought they'd found the perfect name for their little girl, Nutella. You know, like the chocolate hazelnut spread? I mean, I get it, Nutella is delicious. I could eat it by the spoonful. But naming your kid after it, that's a recipe for disaster. The judge in this case agreed and said non to Nutella. They figured the kid would get teased mercilessly, and who wants a lifetime supply of wedges? Plus, imagine the birthday parties. Every year it's just a giant Nutella buffet. And don't even get me started on the ants. So remember folks, as tempting as it may be to name your kid after something delicious, maybe stick to actual names. Unless you're really craving a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, then hey, go nuts! Next up, we're heading down under to New Zealand, the land of Kiwis, and apparently some strict royal name laws. One couple learned the hard way that you can't just crown your kid with a royal name. They tried to name their son Prince William. I mean, I get it. Prince William seems like a stand-up guy. He's got great hair, he married a commoner, and he's probably never had to wait in line for a bathroom break. But naming your kid after him? Well, the New Zealand government wasn't having it. They said it could cause confusion with the actual Prince William. Can you imagine? 2 Prince Williams walking around? It'd be utter chaos. The paparazzi wouldn't know who to chase after. The king would be constantly mixing up their tea orders, and just think of the awkward family reunions. So, the takeaway here is, if you're thinking of naming your kid after royalty, you might want to check with the king first. Or, you know, just stick with something a little less regal. Like Kevin. Kevin's a good name. Hold on to your hats, folks, because this next one is a real head-scratcher. A couple tried to name their kid For Real. Yeah, you heard me right. For real. Like for real. Now, I'm all for creative baby names. I once knew a guy named Blanket, and he turned out all right. Mostly. But For Real? That's just asking for trouble. The government, thankfully, stepped in and said, nope, not gonna happen. Apparently names can't contain numbers, which honestly makes sense. Imagine trying to fill out a birth certificate with that name. The poor kid wouldn't be able to get a driver's license, open a bank account, or even order a pizza without getting a million follow-up questions. So, the lesson here is, while it's tempting to be unique, maybe stick to actual letters for your kid's name. Unless you want them to grow up to be a walking, talking math problem. All right, folks, this next one is almost unbelievable. We're talking about a name so long it makes Pilot Inspector sound like, well, a normal name. Picture this. A couple in New Zealand decided to grace their little girl with the name Tallulah Does the Hula from Hawaii. I mean, come on, that's not a name, it's a vacation brochure. Can you imagine this poor kid trying to fit that on a standardized test answer sheet? The judge in this case, bless his heart, actually stepped in and said, nope, we're not doing that to this child. He basically said, look, I like a good luau as much as the next guy, but this is just cruel. The poor girl got stuck with a new name, but hey, at least it wasn't a travel itinerary. You gotta wonder, what were these parents thinking? Next up, we're headed to China, where a couple decided to get, shall we say, digital with their baby naming. They wanted to call their kid At... Yep, you heard that right, the at symbol. Now, I'm all for modern technology and all, but come on, I mean, how do you even pronounce that? At sign? Little squiggly? I'm sure the poor kid would end up with a nickname like Spam or something. The Chinese government, surprisingly, wasn't too keen on the idea either. They basically said, look, we appreciate your avant-garde spirit, but let's stick to actual names, okay? Maybe they were worried about the kid getting lost in cyberspace or something. Hold on to your hats, folks, because this next one is straight out of Detroit. Well, Mexico, actually. Seems like a couple down there were big fans of Law and Order, or at least the robotic kind. They tried to name their little bundle of joy RoboCop. Now, I'm all for strong names, but that's just asking for trouble on the playground. Can you imagine this kid trying to explain that name to a substitute teacher? No, Mum, it's not Robert, it's RoboCop. R-O-B-O. Well, the good folks in Mexico weren't having it. They slapped a big fat denied on that request faster than you can say, crime doesn't pay. I guess they figured having a kid named after a cyborg crime fighter might send the wrong message. So, this one is a little controversial. A judge in Tennessee told these parents they couldn't name their kid Messiah. Can you believe that? I mean, talk about freedom of religion, right? The judge said Messiah was a title, and there's only one true Messiah. Personally, I think she just had money on LeBron James in the playoffs. Anyway, the kid's name got changed to Martin. Martin, Messiah, who cares? As long as he's not named after a Kardashian, he's got a shot in life. Speaking of shots, tequila shots are on me if you can find this kid on social media in 10 years and tell me his name is actually Martin. This is America, folks. You can name your kid whatever you want. Well, except Messiah, apparently. All right, this next one is about as surprising as finding out pigeons actually love statues. It turns out you can't name your kid Adolf Hitler in Germany. Shocking, I know. Apparently they've got some, let's say, historical sensitivities about that name. I mean, who would have thought naming your kid after a guy who, let's just say, wasn't exactly known for his interior decorating skills? Not the best idea. It's like naming your kid Voldemort or Cruella de Vil. You're just asking for a lifetime of therapy bills. And honestly, can you imagine the awkward playdates? Yeah, little Adolf is a real handful. He keeps trying to build a bunker in the sandbox and blaming everything on the neighbour's dog, Blondie. Not exactly the best look. So yeah, Germany, good call on that one. So, you thought you could just name your kid after any jolly old elf you wanted. Not in Denmark, my friends. Apparently they take their Christmas icons very seriously over there. A couple tried to spread some holiday cheer by naming their little one Santa Claus. But the government hit them with a big old naughty. I guess they figured having a bunch of little Santas running around would diminish the magic of the real deal. Or maybe they just didn't want kids getting confused about who brings the presents. Whatever the reason, it's another case of the government telling you what you can and can't name your kid. Next thing you know, they'll be banning Rudolph and Blitzen too. All right, this one is just ridiculous. A couple in the good old US of A decided they wanted to name their kid Thrur, you know, like the Roman numeral. Maybe they were going for some kind of regal, historical vibe. Or maybe they just really liked the number 3. Either way, the government was not having it. They said 3 wasn't a traditional name and rejected it. Can you imagine the birth certificate? Name 3, weight 7 pounds, 8 ounces, weirdness level off the charts. I mean, I'm all for unique baby names, but this one might be pushing it. At least they didn't try to name the kid a 4. Well, there you have it. 15 crazy celebrity name laws that prove the government has way too much time on their hands. From banned baby names to ridiculous court cases, it seems like everyone's got an opinion on what you should and shouldn't name your kid. Which of these name laws is the craziest? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more weird facts.